So we're gonna start right now.
I am sad and so low.
Assalamualaikum. Hai, selamat sejahtera. Selamat petang. Sekarang ni pukul 9.33 hari Ahad 17 Januari. Alright, so I buat YouTube juga. Sekejap. I buat YouTube juga. So in case korang macam like pelik ke I pakai tudung while podcasting, is because I do my YouTube as well as podcasting at the same time. Supaya, since this is my first time doing podcast, so I tried my best to make it as short as possible and padat as possible. And I know for sure ada orang yang dekat luar sana nak tahu macam mana I start podcast, what are the equipments that you need, how to start, what apps do I use, apa semua, how to distribute it. I will tell you guys one by one after this. And I also want to share how did I get into podcast, like what makes me try to do podcast. Apa yang maybe ada yang nak tahu what are my inspiration behind podcast. So about 2 months ago, maybe late November lah, about 2 months ago, I dah start dengar podcast. Masa tu I dengar Dolan Twins. If you guys don't know who Dolan Twin is, diorang is a YouTuber. Diorang orang US lah. Diorang kembar lelaki, and diorang dah ada, I would say, about 16 million subscribers on YouTube. So diorang buat podcast. And then actually diorang dah lama buat podcast masa tu tau. Tapi diorang like few years after that, diorang decided to do podcast. But then I tak dengar sangat. Awal-awal tu I tak layan sangat podcast sebab I macam tak adalah nak kata I benci tu, tak sangat. It's just like I macam bosan lah podcast, tak yalah dengar macam tu. So I tak dengar podcast. But then I started to layan diorang punya YouTube So like every end of their YouTube punya video, diorang akan pop up this podcast punya advertisement lah, diorang punya podcast lah. And then I was like, oh, interesting, why not if I just listen sekali je lah. So I tried to listen on Apple Podcast sebab I tak ada Spotify. I stopped using Spotify about, I would say last year dah stop dah. Awal last year I dah stop guna Spotify sebab I sedar Apple Music lagi murah daripada Spotify. Sebab Spotify RM14.90 and Apple Music RM3.90 sebab I pakai student punya email, so I dapat murah lah. And then alright, that's beside the point. The point is I dengar Dolan Twins punya podcast. And then masa tu I tak rasa macam I nak dengar podcast. Masa tu I just layan diorang punya podcast je lah. And then ever since then I like frequently layan podcast tau. So I dengar Patrick Star punya podcast. If you guys don't know who Patrick Star is, she is a beauty guru in beauty community in US. So dia pun buat YouTube juga. So yeah, I dengar dia buat podcast. I also dengar The Aida Azlin Show, TED Talks. I also dengar Noh Saleh and Aizat Amdan punya podcast. So I dah start frequently dengar podcast lah at that time. And then tapi I just dengar je. I tak rasa macam I nak buat podcast juga. No, I tak ada rasa. I just layan diorang punya podcast. And then a few days ago, like baru je, like on this week jugalah, I buka Yuna live tau. So Yuna buat live dekat Twitch. If you guys don't know what Twitch is an app for you to tengok orang buat live. Not just Yuna, but ramai orang boleh buat live kat situ. But I download Twitch just because I want to watch Yuna live masa tu. So, and the fact that she is awesome, she is goddess, so I memang suka gila Yuna. But then live is something different from podcast. Like live is you yourself is communicating with the audience who watch your live. But podcast is something, ya Allah, kenapa dia lock, takut dia hilang. But podcast is something that you cannot interact with your audience, because like obviously podcast is just like you literally bercakap and you tak berkomunikasi dengan orang, unless lah you ada tetamu or guest, whoever doing podcasting with you, then you guys boleh borak lah dekat situ. But then like for instance, like right now I'm alone, so I bercakap seorang lah. So masa tu I nampak you nak buat live kan. So masa tu I macam like, oh, macam dia cakap-cakap dengan fans dia, orang yang tengok live dia, me lah, I pun jugalah dia tengah berborak-borak kan. And then I macam, oh, bestnya. Tapi dia bercakap dengan orang. I nak buat podcast, but I nak buat podcast, tapi I tak bercakap dengan orang. So I macam, tapi tak apalah, I macam like, oh cool, macam coolnya. But then cool lah, sebab masa tu before dia buat live tu, dia ada upload satu gambar tau dekat IG feed dia. Tapi sekarang dia dah delete dah, I don't know why. Maybe dia jaga feed kot. So dia upload gambar this, all of her equipments and all that stuff. Dia ada mic, laptop, and then dia punya headphone. I nampak je gambar tu, I rasa macam like, oh my god, this is so cool. I mean like, I know for the fact that she is a singer and I'm not a singer, but then obviously like dia nak kena ada all of that stuff. But me as not a singer, why should I bother to buy all of that stuff? So I just use what are the stuff that I have, what are the equipments that I use, that I can use. So here I am doing podcast, doing YouTube at the same time. So I rasa macam I do what I love, you know, like I don't care what else. I mean, I don't care whoever will going to talk bad or going to talk shit about me. Like I don't even care about that. As long as you do what you love, that is totally fine. So nasihat untuk orang yang orang kat luar sana. So kalau korang minat sesuatu benda, minat nak buat YouTube, minat nak podcast, minat nak menyanyi, minat main music instrument, minat bersukan, minat anything, just do it. You know, like you don't have to think what other people might going to say about you, might going to say bad or good about you. Just let it be, you know. Like sebab bakat ni kita yang punya tau, not people, not orang lain yang punya. Bukannya diorang rasa apa yang kita rasa. So just do it, you know. Apa pasal pula bising ni. And yeah, okay, so to talk about how do I start, dah cerita. I mean, to talk about what are the things that I need. I ada tengok dekat YouTube ni. So whenever I want to start to learn new things, new stuff, I suka belajar dari YouTube tau. Internet is luas, so you guys can actually learn from Mr. Google. You guys boleh tanya dekat Mr. YouTube, like tanya banyak, mana pun diorang akan jawab. So but for me, I lagi prefer YouTube sebab I jenis yang suka menengok daripada I membaca. So I mesti tengok baru I senang faham, daripada I membaca I faham tapi lambat nak faham. So daripada video I tengok tu, I literally like tengok sekali je and then I like, okay, got it. And then I download GarageBand, apa semua I do after that. So I ada tengok dekat satu video dekat YouTube ni lah. They talk about how to start podcast, what are the things that you need, where to distribute it, like Apple Podcast ke, Spotify ke, anything you guys can learn from YouTube. So mana-mana orang yang kat luar sana nak belajar, pergi je dekat YouTube, like explore new things. And tak payah nak beli barang mahal-mahal pun, tak payah nak beli banyak sangat equipment. Like you guys nampak orang beli tu, okay nak beli. Orang beli ini beratus-ratus, beribu-ribu nak beli juga. Kat situ kita dah membazir. Sebab diorang beli sebab diorang like passion. Memang diorang nak buat. Kadang-kadang kalau macam orang-orang yang macam kita ni, macam I lah especially, kadang I rasa macam nak buat podcast, tapi like okay, I tak consistent. Maybe lah in the future I tak consistent buat podcast. Barang tu dah macam membazir bagi kita kan. Sebab kita beli beribu-ribu. Bukan senang nak dapat duit. It's very hard. And nak lagi musim-musim sekarang pandemic ni, it's very very hard. But yeah, you just need like cheap ones. Like the ones that I use right now is a normal headphone. Not headphone, sorry. Earphone that I bought from Mr. DIY, which cost me for like 10 ringgit. Murah sangat. You guys don't need like big headphones. I plan to buy a headphones. I don't have my headphones yet, but in the future maybe inshallah I'll try to do with my headphones. Sebab dekat headphone, kalau when you do podcast, bila you ada headphone, I baca ni, I tengok ni dekat YouTube lah. You guys boleh dengar apa audio yang macam you guys boleh dengar yang korang cakap tu lah. So yang tak adalah korang dengar like bising-bising luar apa semua kan. So it's very convenient if you have headphone. But now I don't have it right now, so in the future lah, insyaAllah. So since this is my first ever podcast, I'll try to make it short, maybe around 15 to 20 minutes. But in the future, I'll try to make it maybe about 20 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes tu paling maximum lah kot. Sebab I dengar podcast orang, ada orang buat lagi lama daripada 30 minit. Ada orang buat sejam, ada orang buat 50 minit, 40 minit. I tak nak terlalu lama sebab I tahu korang akan boring. And like korang tak layan pun sampai habis. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why I want to make it a bit short than the other podcasters. So this is my first podcast, so I'm alone. I don't have any guests with me. Tak ada siapa, it's just me, myself and I. But insyaAllah in the future I'll try my best to get guests. I'll try to get guests betul lah. I'll try to get guests like my friends, my cousins, my siblings ke kan. So I tak bosan, and you guys also tak bosan dengar I membebel. Tak ada topik nak borak. So bila ada orang, it's very easy to, I mean, you guys borak je, tak kisah pun. So yeah, and then I also want to talk about, the other day I posted on my IG story regarding this podcast. So I took a record of my MacBook. Masa tu I tengah bercakap for like 1 minute macam tu. 1 minute lah. But then I post it on my IG story, and then I tulis kat situ say yes to podcast, and then I ada like this like macam poll tau, like you guys can drag mana yang paling suka, macam tu lah. So I got positive feedbacks from my friends and my cousins. Even my cousin also wanted to be one of my guests on my podcast. So I dapat positive feedback lah daripada tu. So I nampak dekat situ yang korang nak dengar sebenarnya my podcast, and maybe ada yang tak nak dengar, tapi ada yang support my podcast. So it's very very, I would say I'm overwhelmed by the feedbacks. I rasa macam, oh wow, Alhamdulillah. Even though I tak buat pun lagi podcast tu, and I tak upload pun lagi, it's just like I got that positive, and dia memberi I semangat untuk I buat podcast, I buat content, So yeah, it's very cool in the sense of how you guys suka dengar podcast juga. Maybe ada orang kat luar sana tak suka, tak layan pun podcast. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I tak tahu nak cakap apa lagi dah, sebab sekarang dah minit ke-14. But yeah, I literally got this podcast inspiration mostly from Malaysian people lah. So macam like Yuna, Nusale, Azamdan, Ultimate, macam tu, diorang buat podcast. macam I nampak macam very cool, you know, like it's very very cool. I wanted to do it someday, and here I am doing it podcast. And yeah, it's very hard to like adjust my the way how I talk, the way how I speak. Sebab YouTube, like if you guys know me from YouTube, I started YouTube when I was in 16 years old, form 4. That is my first time actually upload my first ever YouTube video on YouTube channel. And then up until right now, I am 21 years old. I dah ada 606 subscribers. And now I started to do podcast. So it's very YouTube, macam YouTube and podcast is a whole different things. Dua benda yang sangat berbeza. So like macam YouTube, you guys boleh edit, cut, you guys boleh add something, edit something, nak letak itu, nak letak ini. But podcast is just like you literally have to talk. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to edit kat mana tempat yang you tersasul ke, salah cakap ke. Like you just talk. Itu yang benda itu yang you cakap, benda tu lah you akan upload dekat your distribution channel macam Apple Podcast ke, your Spotify ke and whatnot. So yeah, I guess that's about it, you know. I try my best to not talk too much sebab sekarang ni dah minit ke-16. So I think that's all, you know. I think that's all in my first ever podcast episode. Please comment down below kat YouTube ni lah. Please comment down below if you guys enjoy it, and if you guys ada benda yang nak tanya. I would love to help you guys in terms of macam mana nak start podcast ke whatever. Just ask anything and I try my best to answer it as soon as possible. So yeah, I guess that's all in my podcast and my YouTube channel. I guess in the next video I dah tak buat YouTube channel kot while I do podcast. So macam I podcast je. I nak focus on one thing. So yeah, I guess that's all in this video. I guess that's all in this podcast episode. And see you guys next week. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.